Hello and welcome back, guys. My name is Patrick. This is Patchworks, and we're doing another video on the 2024 Scrambler X right here. Thank you for everyone who saw my previous video where we did all of our customizations to it. Thank you for everyone who liked, commented, and subscribed. We got a whole bunch of new viewers checking that video out, so I wanted to say thank you again. Any sort of interaction with the channel really means a whole lot. We're super small right now, but we're trying to get bigger, so thank you guys again. We have a few things to do today. So we hit our 600 miles, which means we're going to do our first service. We're going to do it ourselves. We'll see how that goes. Really, the main thing is an oil change, a chain adjustment, and then just look over everything, make sure nothing's leaking, make sure the tire pressure is all good. But we actually have some really exciting news coming up for the Scrambler, something really cool we're going to be doing, and I'm teasing it right now, but you're going to have to wait till a little later in the video before I tell you exactly what we're going to do. So, to start off, we are going to change the oil. Relatively cut and dry, takes just under 4 quarts of oil. I do have to remove the skid plate here, and I have to straighten it out, so we're going to throw it in a wheel chuck, and we're going to remove the skid plate, pull the drain plug, pull the oil filter, and yeah, let's just get to it. Never used one of these before. I think this is how it goes. I think I'm supposed to screw it down into the concrete. We'll make it work. See if that did anything. Hey, it did. Can't believe that actually worked. I'll show you guys what I did. Thank you, random piece of 2x4. Have a few 5mm bolts for the skid plate. This is a plastic skid plate. It's kind of disappointing. Might need to pick up a metal one. 2 more under here. Be careful, there's 2 hoses here. And now that I'm looking at that, I don't think I had to do that, guys. Alright, I'm an idiot. Yet again, as I said at the beginning of this video, don't remove the skid plate, guys. In this model at least, the X, maybe it's different in the XE, you don't need to remove the skid plate. It's right here in the back. So, let me put the skid plate back on. See, this is a little frustrating. The Scrambler 1200 has been out for a few years, but the 2019 to 23 model is different than the 24 and 25 models. And all the videos that I see on YouTube are about the 23 and older models. Again, this might be different on the XC, but at least for the X, this piece is plastic, and the oil filter is not covered by it, okay? Nor is the drain plug. So, that makes it a little bit easier, a little bit frustrating, but let me go grab my oil pan and let's start training it. It's a little tight of a fit with this big-ass oil catcher, but guys, if you like to change your own oil, and I do, for Lord knows whatever reason, this thing is sick. Not only does it catch it, but it holds it, and then there's a little spout at the end. You can either seal it and save it for a rainy day, or you can pour it right back into your new oil containers to bring back to the shop and dispose of. And guys, keep in mind, this does need a crush washer. Holy crap. Guys, this is crazy. Oh, it broke. Okay, that's why. Guys, this needs a metal crush washer, and it's not supposed to be reused. Keep that in mind before you go take it out. I mean, in a pinch, obviously it's better than nothing. And I, as I'm talking all this positive stuff about this oil catch can, I didn't open it up. Woo! Let's not move this. and I'll go grab some paper towels. Now I usually just use channel locks to get filters out because, like, why not? Well, this is meant for a filter much bigger than this one. The next best option is hammer in a screwdriver. Just make sure you have a filter handy, or I'm willing to let your bike sit for a bit if you don't. Alright, let's make sure I'm doing this the right way. This way. Hey. What? Ooh. Yeah, buddy. More paper towels. Next step, guys, put the drain plug back on. This is a crush washer I picked up off Amazon, 14 mil. Make sure to double check the exact size though, because the width, I guess, and the outside diameter also matter. And there is a torque setting for this, guys, but it's also just like tight as bejesus. Really crush that washer. Alright, and the last thing to do is put on the new filter. Well, actually, not the last thing to do. Alright, next is to put on the new filter. Now this takes full synthetic 10W40. I'm using mobile because I've used them before. Just make sure you don't get any plastic in there. The nice thing about this is that it actually has a nut on the bottom. Say what size? Just a wrench. It's wrench sized. And what I'm gonna do is pre-fill my oil filter almost all the way, and then just a little bit of fresh oil on the gasket to help ensure its seal. And this is a K&N filter. I don't know why they don't make every filter with a little bolt on the bottom. It makes everything so much easier. I'm just gonna grab a wrench and wrench it a little bit tighter. Not too tight, just a little bit. And just gonna spray a little bit of, this is actually carb cleaner. I'm out of brake cleaner. And I just want to wipe off any oil so that I can more easily tell if there is leaking. If you don't clean up the oil after doing an oil change and there's a slow leak, it's really hard to tell whether there is a slow leak or that's just the residual oil from when you made a mess of changing your oil. Let's fill her up now. Now this right here is kind of the really just dumb part of an oil change on this. So these have the high exhaust here, and I guess it's not an issue with most of their parallel twins because the exhaust come down and out. But with the Scrambler, the fill for this ends up being right behind your exhaust. To have to remove the exhaust to fill it, if you have a normal funnel, you're not going to be able to fill it. It's a long drop, so you have to get a very long funnel. Long story short, get a long funnel if you're changing your oil on a Scrambler 1200. That goes for the older models and the new models. The older models had a hex nut though. This has a handy dandy little finger tighten gripping didn't. Another slight issue. Doesn't get in the hole, guys. This needs to bend. And I can't find my heat gun, so the best time to play with fire is when you're all covered in oil and carb cleaner. Just needs to bend ever so slightly. I might just be ruining my funnel, guys. It's a slight bend. Slight bend. Oh, I needed a little bit more. That's what I need, like right there. Oh, I'm so close, guys. I almost burnt a hole right in the funnel though. Right there. That's what I need. Now, if you can get just one of those flexible funnels, that's probably recommended. Oh. Hey! We're calling it. That's in. Calls for just under 4 quarts. This is a quart. Let's go. And guys, we're going to be looking at the sight hole in the bottom there, but it needs to be checked warm. So we're going to fill it up to where we think it should be, and I think it technically calls for like 3.5, but it can hold up to 3.8, so we're probably going to go with 3.5, close it up, and then we'll take a look at the sight hole there. So that's 1 quart down. So that's 3 quarts, guys. It says 3.4, and the bike is at a slight angle right now. because it's in that chuck, we're just gonna add a bit more. Let's put that top back on, run it, and see how it looks. We're gonna let that warm up. But go ahead and listen to this exhaust. It's a little hard to tell, but I made sure the bike was level, and it does need just a little bit more oil, so I'm just gonna top it off, and we're gonna call it changed. It's a little, my bike's a little on a slant, but you can see it would clearly be within those two lines. So, with that being said, let's go prop up the rear wheel and take a look at the chain. So guys, we're going to be attaching these spool nuts right here, is what they're called. They go right here, and they just make it a little bit easier on the bike to lift it up with that rear wheel stand, and it prevents you from scuffing up the swing arm or you know, here, wherever the hell you attach it. I don't know where else you'd attach it, but it's super simple. These take an 8mm, and I am just going to add a little blue Loctite to them, just so they don't come off. The other cool thing about this is that it'll also help protect the swing arm. I mean, there's a few more things that, you know, if you drop the bike, things are gonna get scratched up. It'll help protect the swing arm a little bit if you do actually drop it. And I just got black. I don't want them to stick out. This ain't no fancy sports bike yet. Guys, we have cool things coming. Cool things coming, and I'll tell you right after this. Okay, so enough with the suspense. What's going on with the Scrambler 1200X? Well, I reached out to BT Moto. For those of you who don't know BT Moto, they have almost 2 million subscribers on YouTube, and they are a professional tuner. They sell tunes that you can either mail on your CPU, or you can buy a handheld unit and get that shipped out to you, and you can tune your motorcycle. They have it for a bunch, basically all the popular motorcycles that have come out recently. When I was looking for the Scrambler 1200X, the newer models, again, there weren't tunes available. They had tuned the older models, but no one was tuning the new models. It was a little trickier to find some of these slash cut pipes. It is suggested that you tune them afterwards because there's a whole lot less back pressure, which can make your bike run lean, make it run hotter. It's not good. Even if you do that whole, you know, 15-20 minute self-tune where you turn the bike on cold, let it run, the CPU tries to adjust for that. Apparently it can't really adjust enough. So I reached out to BT Moto, and they're going to be taking the bike for a week. They're going to be throwing it on the dyno and seeing what they can get out of it. Now I know this bike is not meant to go fast. It's supposed to have low-end torque at the expense of maybe top speed, but they're throwing it on the dyno, and we're going to see just how far we can push it. You can order their tune for the new Scramblers, Scrambler 1200s. They do have it on their website, but it does not take into account these slash cut pipes, which are definitely not straight pipes. I would not admit to a crime on the internet. And so their tune that you can order for your Scrambler has the stock muffler on it with the cats. If you do straight pipe it, you're going to need to get it tuned. That tune does not account for that. BT Moto has 2 locations if I'm not mistaken. I think their main location is in Southern California, but they also have a location in Upton, Massachusetts, which is only an hour and a half away from us here in Central Connecticut. So tomorrow, we're going to be trailering this thing up, take the Bronco Raptor, and we're going to be bringing it up to BT Moto and dropping it off for them to throw it on the dyno and see exactly what they can get out of this bike. And I'm super excited. Obviously, before we do that, we have to finish doing the first maintenance, and that's going to finish up with tensioning this chain right here. So we're going to throw this thing up on the stand. It's a little sketchy. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing this. Hey. So as we were looking at earlier, I mean, you can't really tell. It has to be down to check it. But this chain is super loose, and that's very common to happen in the first 600 miles. So first things first, you're going to have to loosen the axle nut right here. Now grab yourself a breaker bar to do that. I think that's probably enough. Then we're going to come in here. This is the locking nut, and this is the adjuster. And to add tension to this chain, we are going to push the whole axle back, stretch it out Once we get to the right tension, we'll make sure that we match it on the other side so that the wheel is not canted and it stays straight. So back that out. Looks like that has some, not Loctite. What's the opposite of Loctite? Anti-seize stuff. We're just gonna back this out. Now, I should really be using the specific sized wrench for this. Well, seeing as doing this properly is pretty important for the safety. Oh my god, I'm looking at that right now and I'm realizing that it's not even on the right part of the chuck. It should be fine. Seeing as this is considered a safety issue, I went and got the right tools for this. So, first grab. So this is a 12 mil bolt right here. Oh, whoa. Guess it didn't need to be that. Alright. Let's measure that. Okay. So midway between the sprocket. Alright, so that's 2, and then I would say that's perfect. Right at 1.2. I'm going to match how far I push this nut on the other side. Put it down before I tighten it. Double check that on the kickstand it's the same tension, and then we're going to tighten that back up, and the chain should be adjusted. Down, it comes down right about 2, and then up, I would say just right between 1 and 1.2 inches. So that is properly tensioned. I'm going to just make sure these are snugged down. There's a torque setting for these. I don't know how to torque using those, so I'm just going to wrench that down as hard as I can. This does have a very important torque setting. I do have a torque wrench for this, so I'll look up what that is. I believe it's 80 pound-feet, but I'll double check that and then we'll torque that down. So it is 110 Newton meters, so to foot-pounds that is 81.1, so a little past 81. Screw that down and let's get that bolt on. Alright, once more. That should do it. Alright guys, just a few more things. Check the tire pressure. Front should be at 36. Just a little high. So 36 psi. And it is 42 psi for the rear wheel, which looks like the front wheel is at 42 as well. Not the end of the world. That's a little high. 42. That's pretty much it. You want to check all the levels. There's coolant level on the other side that you want to make sure is at the right level. Check your brake fluid, make sure that looks good. Just an overall kind of look at everything. The last thing we're going to do, and we have to head down to New York City for the rest of the day for a baby shower. But when I come back, the last thing you have to do, the first maintenance 600 miles, is chain clean and lube. I guess they put on a bit of like a heavier lube from the factory, more for like storage and stuff like that. And you want to get that off, and Triumph actually recommends oiling your chain every 200 miles, which seems like a very short period. This is my first time having a bike with a chain on it. That seems like a lot, but you know, maybe not. Maybe it's not. I got a really cool tool coming in, which should make it super simple, super easy. So I'll show you guys that in just a sec. I'm gonna throw this thing back up on its rear wheels so that we'll be all set to clean and lube the chain when I get home, and then get ready to drop this thing off with BT Moto tomorrow morning. Alright guys, excuse the audio. I must have left my lav mic on yesterday because it's dead. But we're here, gonna finish this up real quick. All we have left to do for this last service before we drop the bike off to get tuned this morning is chain clean and lube. I got this Motool kit. It comes with chain cleaner, the lube, and then it has this little like guard here. Totally unnecessary. I mean, this will store nice, I guess. It just helps prevent overspray, and you know, you just feed, this top just pops off. You just feed the chain right through. You can spray in here. All the excess will drain into your bottom here to dispose it properly. Don't just dump it out in the dirt. Chain clean first. And guys, keep in mind with the chain lube, there's road lube and there's off-road stuff. The road stuff holds on, lasts a little bit longer, but it'll hold on to like dirt and dust and stuff, so you shouldn't be using it if you're off-road. the off-road stuff doesn't hold on to the chain as well, if I'm not mistaken. You need to apply it a little bit more frequently, but it won't grab on to the like dirt and sand and stuff as much as the normal chain lube will. If you use the normal chain lube off-road, it's not the end of the world, but it's just gonna wear down your chain more. Alright. Give it a little brush. Make sure you're doing this in a well-ventilated area, guys. This stuff is hot. That should be enough. Just gonna wipe it off with a rag. And be careful, guys. You don't want your fingers getting caught in these sprockets. You will lose a finger. Let that dry for a few minutes. We're just gonna lube. Look at that, guys. That actually got a lot. Let's be real. You guys are just letting that go onto your floor. Maybe clean it up with a little cardboard. But that's pretty cool. Alright guys, well listen, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching if you got to the end. I'd really appreciate it if you guys dropped a like. Let me know in the comments down below how I messed this up, how I'm going to break my bike, how it's stupid that I am doing all this stuff to it. All press is good press, as they say. Be sure to stay tuned for the next video where we go get this bike tuned by BT Moto and see just how far they can push it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.